My name is Jake Aria, and I'm a student at the University of California, Santa Barbara. And by the time you're watching this, I've most likely already finished all my finals and graduated. However, I'm having a hard time mustering any kind of enthusiasm for this chapter of my life ending, because it's marked with such a dark event. On Friday, May 23rd, George Chen, Chen Hong, Waihan Wang, Catherine Cooper, Veronica Weiss, and Christopher Martinez were all murdered by a man who shall remain nameless to the entirety of this video. Now, this event rocked our community, and we all tried to mourn, except there was something in our way.
The UC Santa Barbara student was stabbed to death inside the Isla Vista apartment.
Guns, they say he drove to a sorority house, shot 3 women outside.
To this afternoon, and the people that will speak.
That case was suspended.
UC Santa Barbara returned to class again following last Friday's deadly rampage.
These news vans were everywhere. They were at the shooting sites, they were at the memorial the school set up, they were anywhere they thought they could get a soundbite from a student or faculty member or eyewitness. They pestered the students from Friday night to Tuesday morning. Now, I understand them being there Friday and Saturday, but after that, nothing else came out. There was no new revelations. So why were they there? With all the action over, what were they going to broadcast? Well, they showed students laying flowers, interrupted people lighting candles for the lost, and they got in the way of prayer vigils that were happening almost every day. These news vans were the biggest hindrance we could have come across. And they were parked right in front of the biggest memorial that had been set up, right in front of Ivy Deli. In fact, I actually got an interview with the owner.
To be honest with you, I understand Saturday was after the tragedy we have all the media and they want to get the stories, which is their job, I understand that. But when it reached to Monday and it's still standing here on the sidewalk, on the street and this, I think it was annoying. Sunday or Monday, one of the girls was crying outside, and she ran candles and flowers and stuff. And the guy literally just went out almost to her face with the camera, showing that here crying. And I was heated. We got him as man, have show respect for people crying at this. And he just went to the side a little bit, and it was annoying, really. On Monday, we talked to the guys in the media, before noon. We told them as Ivy Deli, can you guys please stay away? If you have the parking lot and by noon. We told them in a nice way, we understand your job and all the stuff, but that's it. The story is done. I think you have enough story from Saturday all the way to Monday. I think that's too much to keep milking the story and showing the people crying and stuff. We need to move on. And some of them left, and some of them stay on here. And when I asked some of the police officers, we cannot do nothing. And one of the guys is oh, CHP. So we called CHP, and we moved them out the street. And they went from the street, they went to the sidewalk. And then we called sheriff, and I was willing to sign a paper, to clear them out from the street, from the sidewalk, to blocking my store. And we try finding any excuse to get them out of the way, because it's too much. And I don't know if you noticed, we have a bunch of guys who are outside having signs, yeah. They go away. And they asked me if they can go in front of the store, and I'm like, yeah, go ahead, because it gets annoying after a while. And they try to milk the story. It's too much, what I mean?
This whole thing is ridiculous, and I'm glad to hear that the residents of Ivy got involved very quickly. The man that he mentioned, who was holding the big signs, he actually became an internet sensation on the website Reddit, and I managed to get an interview with him earlier this week.
With a conversation between me and 2 guys that I live with. One of them said, hey, the news team is all perched around the memorial site, and there's not even anyone sitting there or anyone enjoying it. It's just all of these vultures sitting around, I don't know, just waiting to see someone cry, and so they can film them. So my housemate decided that he wanted to go buy some signs, some big markers, and asked all of us in the house if we would help him hold the signs up out there. And then he went around to other community houses. So I live in a co-op, and he went to the other co-op houses and asked if they would partake in this event too. And it was pretty much all his idea. He went and bought the stuff. He got everyone rallied up. So we were outside in our driveway, and we have these old closet doors, and we are like, okay, we can put these signs on the doors because it'll block more space. And after we had, everything set up, he like got the people. We walked over there with the doors, and he's like telling us, all right, so this is our plan. We're just gonna hold up the doors. We're not gonna look at anyone. We're not gonna talk to anyone. We're just gonna hold them up and try and block the camera. But I think the biggest thing is like the dehumanizing way that we treat other people sometimes. When we see them on the news grieving or whatever, or we're hearing about the biggest mass shooting, or even the biggest forest fire, there's like always this like urge for people to want it to get worse, just so they can see more carnage or get more, gory footage. And I felt the draw before, like you hear about something terrible, you want to learn about it, you want to know exactly how bad it actually got. I don't know if that's like a sickness of people, but I think the way that we go about it is unfair to certain people, especially people who are the victims of these things. But it's also, I don't know, kind of sinister for it to be not just curiosity, not just informing people, but they are turning a profit. So that is a bummer.
So you're saying it's not so much the news industry's fault, it's more the people's fault for encouraging it.
Oh yeah, definitely. If it wasn't something that the consumers wanted, it's not something people would provide.
I like what he said about this not being an isolated issue. That is indeed a national problem that we as the people have partially been responsible for creating. You see, it's not just the news channel's fault for airing what they know is going to bring them money, but it's also our fault for supplying the demand. We as an American people have dehumanized each other, and every time there's one of these tragedies, not only are the news crews there, but we want them to be there. We want to see what's going on. In fact, I talked to a teacher here at UCSB named Jennifer Holt about this very subject. She had a lot to say.
It's a pretty big story every time a mass amount of people are killed by one person, by a shooter. And as we've seen with the Malaysian plane that went down, and as we see over and over again with these incidents, unfortunately, death and tragedy and the spectacularization of those events sells much more than deeper research into why these things happen, or reporting, which costs a lot of money, on the deeper underlying social or cultural reasons behind our discussions of our gun laws, for example, which we, for some reason, we seem to be unable to have thoughtful, reasoned debate about those things in our media today. My hope is that tragic events like this do bring about some type of change, and there is a moment like this when people do feel inspired to act and to get involved, and I hope that the work you're doing and the work that a lot of my other students are doing to keep these issues and this event at the front of conversation and at the front of dialogue and in people's mind. I hope that you all keep it up, because there is possibility to make change from this.
See, it all comes back down to profit. The news channels refuse to do the deep investigative journalism because it's easier and cheaper to just report the surface crap. Now, once again, we're willing to just take the surface crap. And that's where it falls on us. We need to remember that the people on the other side of the camera are more than just faces on a screen. There are people with hopes and dreams and emotions who are mourning, who are losing loved ones. And like Professor Holt said, now is a time where we can change things. The door has been open. Opportunities are being given to us. People are rallying. And that's what we need to do. We need to remember that we're all humans, not just commodities. And that's the point of this whole thing. That we don't just sit back and be flooded by these images of pain and misery, but that we get up and we do something about it. We make a change. We don't wait for it to happen to us. I'm glad I could share this with you all. And I hope everyone learned something. I know I did. Have a nice day.